Hey Basickers, today we're gonna dive into the minor triad. I'm gonna show you a method to memorize the shapes more easily, and I'm gonna explain to you why it's so important that you know all three shapes. When I took lessons with Gary Willis, he had a mantra for me to learn. Don't think notes, think shapes. If you're thinking of shapes instead of notes, the advantage you will have is enormous. It will speed up your playing dramatically, especially if you improvise. If I'm thinking of playing a G minor triad, what I did before I had lessons with Gary Willis would be, okay, G minor triad, the root is the G, the minor third is the B flat, and the 5 is the D. So if I play the G on the E string on the 3rd fret, I play the B flat on the 1st fret of the A string and the D on the open string. I don't like open strings as a basis. I don't know if you do too, but I highly suggest not playing too many open strings. So I'm gonna play it on the 5th string of the A, 5th fret of the A string, that way. And that leaves me with quite a stretch. So let's move that B flat from the A string down to the E string on the 6th fret. Okay, now I have my nice and easy, playable, accessible minor triad. And you might have already noticed where I'm getting at. This whole process of finding an easy way to play that triad in whichever position is required, it takes quite some time. I want you to be able to do that in less than a second. And I'm going to show you how. The first thing you have to learn is the 3 shapes of the minor triad. Alright, here are the 3 shapes of the minor triad. I'm going to do this one in A minor, just so you know. And I'm going to start with what I call the easy shape. I call it the easy shape because it's a 1-finger fret approach. Check this out. I'm going to start with my index finger on the root note, the A on the 5th fret of the E string. Then with my pinky I play the minor third, which is a C, on the 8th fret of the E string. And with my ring finger I play on the 7th fret of the A string the 5, which is E. Nice and simple, right? Probably the shape that you use most of the time. How do you remember this shape? For me it's just a triangle that's pointing downwards, with the shorter side and the longer side. The shorter side facing the body, the longer side facing the head. Then there's the second shape. This one is a bit of a stretch, but depending on where on the fretboard you play it, or depending on the size of your hands actually. Mine are a bit smaller, so for me it's definitely a stretch. Yours might not be, so congratulations. You've got 2 easy shapes. I, however, call it the stretchy shape. I'm gonna start it with the index finger. Second shape, second finger. Makes sense, right? So, did I just say index finger? I mean the middle finger on the root note, 5th fret of the E string. Then with the index finger, I stretch out to the C on the A string, which is on the 3rd fret. And the 5 stays where it is. The E on the A string on the 7th fret. I play this time with my pinky instead of my ring finger. This one I call a symmetric triangle. Kind of goes 2 frets both ways, starting from the root note. And it's pointing upwards. So, symmetric triangle pointing upwards. Shape number 3 is what I call the 3-string shape, because it's played across 3 strings. Makes sense, no? I start this one with a pinky on the root note. Then I play the minor third with the middle finger and the 5 on the D string, 2nd fret with the index finger. Think of 2 triangles. Either way, it's the 3-string shape. Eventually, the shape that you use in any given context is always dependent on what you play. If you're playing something really fast and busy, sometimes it's better to use shape 3, which doesn't sound as balanced, but is easier to play. I'll give you an example. For example, if I play 2 minor chords a whole step apart from each other. Let's go through 3 different options. First option, I play both with the same shape. The result, I get a lot of scratchy noises from changing position. Let's play the second chord with the second shape. Definitely less noise, but depending on how long I play it, it might get exhausting to do that stretch here between the third and the 5. Third option, with the third shape on the second chord. So now I've eliminated half of the noises, but it's a little bit easier to play. So the choice is really yours. So let's wrap this up. In the first example, I played 2 times shape 1 and got a lot of string noise moving in between the triads. In the second version, I played the first shape and the second shape. It's a bit harder to play and I might cause extra noise, string rattle, because it's such a stretch and not so easy to play. But it's a good compromise because I completely eliminated the noise from moving from one position to the next. And then there's the third version where I only got rid of half of the position changing noise, but this one's really easy to play. There's a place for any of these 3 versions. It always depends on what you hear in your head and how you can execute it. Just know and be aware of that there are 3 different versions to play a minor triad. Here's how I determine the perfect compromise between sound and playability. My first focus is solely on playability. I'll try to find the most economic way to play it. That's moving as little as possible. And then only in the second step, I'll see if I can improve the sound of it without losing too much of my economy of motion. A good tip to get a balanced bass sound all over your fretboard is to orientate most of your notes around this diagonal on your fretboard. This way you avoid getting really thin sounding notes and getting really muddy sounding notes. Just the right balance will sound the best. Alright, that's it for today. I hope you've gotten something out of this lesson and I can't wait to see you next week when we're going to talk about the major triad. Love and bass. By the way, if you enjoyed this video, I've got a new one coming up on YouTube every single week. So subscribe to this channel or go all in. Book a free trial lesson with a link in the description. I'm looking forward to meeting you. Love and bass.